This week on Marketplace, we are in Kajiado, a county that is growing fast. More families are settling here, businesses are growing, and the need for everyday goods is increasing. From groceries and household essentials to products for small businesses, retail businesses here have become a part of everyday life. Mile 46 Township sits along the road in Elangata Was, about 32 kilometers from Kajiado Town. It is a small and simple Maasai town. But what immediately stands out is the color. Walls across the township are covered in vibrant paintings, Maasai-inspired art and bold murals that bring life to the town. Here, we meet Patrick Mugambi, a retailer serving this community, and look at how access to financing is helping him keep shelves stocked and his customers coming back.
My name is Patrick Mugambi. I came in Maili 46 in 2014. I had came to visit my cousin who is wife and been employed here as a government teacher. Then when I came here, that's when I gotten a chance to teach in a public school by one of my friends. Then that is how I started. Then I went to college, I came back here. And then 2019, that's when I started this business as I was teaching as a BOM teacher.
When did you realize the need for a business like this, and how did you manage to start it?
I realized the need for this business because I wanted to be more stable in terms of providing the family. I had a keen way I was supporting to do our education in the secondary school. That's how I tried to look for other ways of getting income so that I can support myself, my young family, which I married on 2018. That's how I started my business.
Why this kind of business and not any other?
This business, lingerie here, there is no farming done here. So people solely depend on what is bought from the shop. The people here concentrate mostly on a kind of pastoralism, that is grazing cattle, goats. And then when I came, it means there were shops, but now there was a gap because most of the items were coming from far. So if you had a way of bringing those things from those far places up to here, you get automatically you get an opportunity to sell. So I saw it's a good business because for anyone to live, he or she must eat. So, and maybe people are going to purchase items far away, doing some shopping from far away. And then maybe that time the competition of this kind of business was not too high. There was very few people who are doing large business. And that's how I saw the opportunity.
Hapa ndio tunaye, hakuna pale nyingine ambayo tunaye. So, wakati hii duka sasa, wakati hii maduka zilianza, kwanza ilianza ikiwa retail tu. Bei ilikuwa ghali. Hakuna transport. Na tena kuja hapa hivi, njia ni mbaya. So price inakuwa juu sana. Unapata shida sana kabla hujapata hizo maduka. Kwa sababu unajua hapa hivi si pale ambayo unaweza kupata na kupata vitu ambayo inatakia mahitaji ya nyumbani. Sasa tulikuwa tunaenda paka Kajiado. Na unajua hapa hivi Kajiado ni mbali sana. Na most of the because the place have been subdivided. Sasa watu wako more than 20 kilometers au 40 kilometers kutoka hapa hivi. Na hapa ndio tunaye, hakuna pale nyingine ambayo tunaye. Watu wanakuja kutoka mbali kwa Saturday. Unaona sasa hakuna watu, lakini Saturday ukija hapa hivi unaweza kukuta zaidi watu over 6000.
Nalisha watoto wangu kwa hii duka sababu bei ni kipenzi na huyu imejuana sana huyu mwenye duka. Napendana sababu ni mtu wa mzuri ya kununua vitu yote, anapata yote, kitu ya kupoteza anapata. Na hata pia ni bei ni ingine. Na hata yeye anaamini mimi kama ni deni na saa patia tu kidogo. Yako anapendanga hivyo.
We deal with the cereals like maize, modokoi, red beans, yellow beans, jae, dengu. Then we sell unga, ngano, that is wheat flour, all those kind that can be cooked.
All right, so those are things that essentially wouldn't be grown in this area.
Yeah.
And because everybody needs to eat, it's a very basic question, but what kind of customers do you serve on a daily basis?
The customers we serve on a daily basis is the local people within this area and the locality that surround this area.
So talk to us about the journey
Yeah.
that this business has taken since 2019. So that means it's about 7 years old.
Yeah.
What differences would you see in this business when you began in 2019 versus where it is today in 2026?
In 2019, when I started the business, I was not doing it on myself. I hired someone to do it on my behalf, a young boy. Then later I brought in my aunt, that is on 2020, who ended up to 2021, as I was teaching as a PTA teacher. Then from there, in 2022, that's when I decided to leave the teaching. After I ended up applying the job for many times without being successful. That's how I ended leaving the whole thing and coming back to business.
People say when you start a business, especially a business like this, then it doesn't really take off unless you're there physically. What is your experience with that?
My experience is that a business grows well when the brainchild of that business is there to manage, to see the opportunity, to expand, and to respond to the needs of the customer, and to seize the opportunity when it comes.
It's interesting that you mentioned responding to the needs of the customer. When you began this business in 2019, I'm sure you already had a list of what you thought your customers would want. How has that changed over the years, and what have you learned about your customers' needs that you have then responded to over the years?
2019, if you can look at this building, there is somewhere where the floor is divided. That shop was up to there, a small kiosk, that is. Then we saw that there is needs for more goods to serve the people, because people wouldn't come, items wouldn't finish. So we see there is a need to increase the volume of the items so that we can serve people contently, and so we also increase our income.
When I look at your shop now, it is very well stocked. Yeah. What are the challenges that you've experienced since you began this shop, since you opened the business, in terms of stocking it? Because sometimes mteja anakuja anaitisha kitu, you don't have it. Talk to us about the challenge.
The stocking of the shop, sometimes you find that maybe the volume of the goods that you need is much than the capital you have. So you should look for an alternative so that when you don't have enough capital or finance, you can supplement. Especially this business also, it has peak period and off period. Peak period is, for example, when during the time of festivities, that is on December, on September, or maybe when the schools are closed. That time the family is together, children are at home. It's different from when the schools are operating. But when the schools are on, there are things that move faster, like books, like cereals, because maybe schools are out, they need those cereals. Then there are things like unga, ngano, cooking oil, soaps. that goes faster when the spruce is crossed.
Where do you source your products from, and how do you get them here?
We get items. Previously, we were getting them from those distributors or wholesalers who could come to sell door to door or shop to shop. But now, because of the competition, you should look for a safer method whereby you will be competitive with others, because we are not the only one. There are many who are doing big business. So you want to source some big distributor or somebody who could offer better prices that you can able to compete with others.
I am sure that when you began this shop in 2019, it wasn't this well stocked.
Yeah.
Talk to us about the financing journey of the business. What kind of capital did you start with? And how did you manage to stock it to this level? What kind of support did you receive?
When I started this shop, I bought the items worth 13,500 from a near wholesaler here within this market who was selling at that time. And then what I made sure, because that person was near, when I buy and the items finishes, I last there to buy again. And as I had learned through the media, through reading business articles in the newspaper, through the phone, I knew how to round back the profit.
What kind of challenges did you experience before you managed to get more financing to expand the business?
I had a better knowledge because when I was in school, I joined learning, studying business. So I knew the journey to a good business, you must have financing partners, those who can hold your hands and take you to the next step that you cannot be able to take with the money that you get from the business. I had to start, first of all, banking. I tried so many financial institutions like Isako. I saw that one, maybe it's not working for me the way I may need. Then I proceeded to other institutions. That's how I landed into Co-operative Bank. I went on banking because like most of the items that we buy here, some of them we pay before they are delivered. So you have to have money somewhere that you can transact through the digital way. Yeah, there are those who, when they come, you give them cash, but there are those who that you have to send money.
When you do not have finances to source for these products, how do your financial partners help you?
They have what they call stock financing, where you, after they have seen your progress of banking, how you bank, you enter into a contract with them. They approve you a certain amount according to your level, whereby if you need goods worth 200,000 and you have 100,000, they chip in and they pay the 100,000. Then the goods came, after you sell, you refund their money. Maybe in this stock financing, it's not a must that you have their own by yourself. But when they pay and you sell your goods, you give them their money, you are left with your money.
How has Co-operative Bank supported your business and its growth over the years?
Co-operative Bank, I think the first money that I borrowed through mobile banking, mobile loan, is 45,000. At that time, I grew the limits. I can now access maybe 1.5 when I want. The limit increases as you are honest and as you build your trust with them, I think.
We have good solutions that speak to retailers' needs. We have stock finance products that basically support the retailer to be able to bridge the cash flow challenges, to be able to acquire finances even without immediate adequate cash flow outlay. Yeah, so Co-operative Bank comes in that space to support the cash flow management of that business. So retailer finance is a product the bank offers to support retailers to be able to acquire stock from suppliers. And all we need the retailer to do is to raise an invoice, which then we'll be able to settle with the supplier and they'll get supply of goods. Case in point, I'll give an example of a fast-moving consumer good. For example, if Patrick, for example, wants to buy sugar, he'll just get in touch with the supplier for that commodity. He'll be given an invoice, which the bank will then use to complete that payment to the supplier, and the payment and the supply of that commodity will be facilitated to Patrick. The other product that Patrick benefits from the bank is asset finance. And how asset finance comes in to support the customer is that it facilitates in the mobility, in the movement of goods. Is able to very quickly take advantage of supplies from the supplier, moving the same to his shop, and also distributing the same to the consumers, and especially the ones that are far. This is very critical for the nature of work that he does, because fast-moving consumer goods, then turnover is what works for that nature of business. And for him to be able to quickly move the volumes, then he needs to leverage on a unit, and the bank comes in to support at that level. And for someone to come for asset financing, this is a simple product with very simple requirements, and which then so many of our customers have come to embrace to support their businesses and to move volumes.
From all the solutions that you have accessed from Co-operative Bank, which solutions made the biggest difference to this business?
Stock finance, which because of as you can see, this is the nature of business. It's not on a permanent housing. So we don't have the insurance premiums to cover the business. So that is stock finance. You don't stay with the money long. You take it when you need to operate a business.
How would you say this kind of access to financing has changed the way you run your business today?
So it has helped me to, during the peak period, that is on festivity days, to stock much. As you know, that time even the company sometimes closes because of lack of enough staffs. So for example, we stock on December so much so that we can go all through to January 6th or 5th.
I'm sure you've been monitoring your numbers since the business began. How would you say your customer numbers have changed, whether they've grown or increased in the wake of financing from Co-operative Bank?
I think at the past we were selling on only small items, that is things that are going to be used by one person. But at this time, then when we built up our finances, we sell to other small shops, not here, even the neighboring market centers. Some come to pick the goods here. We do not have a way of delivering goods or going to far away places, but they come for it here. They give us the order, they send someone to pick either by motorbike, by their small vehicles.
A vehicle, is it a tuk-tuk right outside your shop? How did you acquire this tuk-tuk, and how is it helping you move your business forward?
This tuk-tuk helps us. For example, a customer might buy a bigger road that is not being carryable by a motorbike, and he or she requests that we ferry it to his or our place. Then we do that.
And how did you manage to acquire financing for this kind of asset?
I think the financing of it's through savings. And then because when you withdraw such big money from the business, you leave a gap. So you have to have something else. You take that finance so that you can cover that gap so that business can continue.
So as a bank, we like supporting customers and to see to it that they grow. And the approach that we take is to solution all their needs. And we usually support our customers with various products that speak to their needs. If a customer is, for example, in the logistics sector, we'll support them with asset finance so that then they're able to have and to achieve proper mobility of their commodities. If a customer is in agriculture, we have agricultural equipments that we come in to support in form of asset financing. Those customers who are doing exports, and imports. We have trade solutions that speak to those needs, including LCs, LPO, invoice discounting, and we also do mortgages for those customers who want to construct either for own use or for commercial purposes. And to be able to support a customer in all these areas, we don't have to do isolated requests. So we just scope the customer's needs and do one request, and we do one proposal that then sorts all their needs at a go. So customers like Patrick can take advantage of the solutions that we offer as a bank. We have a robust array of solutions, including working capital solutions, mortgage solutions, asset finance, trade finance, and as a customer, do not have to come for isolated requests. You can do one request. Us as a bank and as your relationship managers, we can help you to identify and to scope your needs so that then you're able only to raise one request that speaks to all your needs. And by offering that credit solution, then you will have effectively supported both your business and your personal life.
Looking back, since 2019, what are you most proud of in this business?
I'm proud of this business because it has been able to help me get a home for my family, which I am not. I educate my 2 children are in school. I pay school fees for them. And I live a very much comfortable life than when I was doing a PTA job.
Let's talk about the impact of this shop in this community itself. How many people have you managed to employ, and how many more put food on the table courtesy of this business that you've started today?
During, for example, weekdays, I have 2 boys which we used to assist each other here and there. And during the market day, that is on Saturday, we increase the number to 4 so that we can able to move faster and serve the customers without delaying them because they come from far.
If you are able to access more financing from the bank today, what would your priorities be on the financing?
My priority would be being in a safer structure, ensure my business, and I make sure that most of the items that I sell comes directly from the manufacturer. And then I have an idea that going forward to be able to sell things, even if you can get things that can be brought in large bulky, maybe far away, so that you can be much competitive.
As the sun sets over Kajiado County, the day winds down with music and Maasai dancers celebrating the spirit of community. As we near the end of this episode of Marketplace, we've traveled across counties and met dozens of entrepreneurs. And through it all, one story stands out, that when businesses grow, communities grow with them. My name is Michelle Ngele Odhiambo. This is Marketplace, driving trade one business at a time. To grow your business today, visit any cooperative bank branch and ask to speak to a business banker.